Hey everyone, it's Will, Gamer Dad, with another video for you. So first off, I'd like to give a shout out to one of my YouTube members, Tinky. Thanks for your support. In today's video, we're going to show off AS Lokido as a 5-star form with Manifest, and I'll do a little bit of gameplay and let you know what I think about him. But the most important question of all is he hot or not?
He's not hot. I'm not into hairy men.
Well, I guess I better wax more. Alright, AS Lokido, of course, really needed to manifest. He's one of the oldest AS units. His VC's average, I guess, at this point. Earth-type attack of user plus 50% for 1 turn. Obviously, with a VC Grasta, it would be 2 turns or longer. The fact that it's only to the user is really selfish, and there are a lot better VCs out there. Now, one thing specific about AS Lokido is he does get a hold ground 1 time at the start of battle, and this one is a non-conditional one. You do not have to be a full HP, and so it's quite a bit more useful than the badge versions. Also note that the necklace I have from the Glimmer necklace from the Time Twisted Maze does give him those abilities. In terms of his moves, he still retains some of his 4-star normal style versions. Herculean Smash, which is a blunt, single target, blunt resistance down 20% and inflict stun. Okay, but it still counts as a physical resistance down. Keep that in mind. Blunt resistance down is also equal to a physical resistance down. You also have the beastly attack that gives earth type resistance down 25%. Depending on the team makeup of, and what you have, you will choose one or the other as your third support move if you need the extra earth resist down or physical resist down. Now, in terms of the 2 AS moves that have been enhanced, the Heavenly Impact looks pretty weak at first. Blunt attack AoE, small, inflicts stun, and all party weapon damage gets up 25%, stackable for 3 for 50% total. Note that it is for 6 turns, so a much longer than 3 turns. Also increased damage the fewer the enemies. It also stacks orbs, Fearless Fortitude on the enemy, and on 3rd consecutive use, it does give hold ground to AS Lokido again, and increases strength by critical damage for 30% for all party members, physical damage only. So depending on if he's already taken a hit that caused lethal damage, you can actually refresh his hold ground. I will show you a little bit of an example later on in the video. Now finally, his ground shaker, which I would use as a spam move. After getting 3 stacks of the Heavenly Impact, you can now use the Earth type blunt on a single enemy times 3XL. Also increases power and speed, stackable for 3, which means from 30 to 60, which is still fairly significant, and again for 6 turns. And one special ability is that it does consume a Fearless Fortitude for an additional attack. On consecutive use, the number of additional attacks and strength is increased up to 3 times and times 5 damage. So what that means is if you do have at least Fearless Fortitude, you can get up to 6 hits instead of 3, and the damage will be very, very high with each of those 6 hits. So again, you do have a long setup with AS Lokido. However, you might get the big payoff at the end. Now here's his 5-star board, and note that his personalities are Fist and Beast, so you can try to share Grasta that way with your enhanced ores. In terms of his normal Grasta, you can use the pretty standard stuff. I didn't end up using the VC Grasta because I haven't used the treatises and materials to side grade those. So let's take them out for a spin. If you haven't already, make sure you like and subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it. I also do have a Patreon account for those who want to support me this way. So obvious against weaker enemies, the AoE setup Heavenly Impact is more than enough damage to end all enemies weak to blunt or earth, and it is part of his setup. It doesn't use a lot of MP, so you can still use it for farming, although there are 0 MP choices at this point, so I won't really mention that. Now in real fights, you will use 3 stacks of Heavenly Impact. Note that if you do you can stack, you can see those you can also stun the enemy, which you saw at a low rate, but it's still possible. After 3 stacks and you've given him up to 50% weapon damage, now you can start spamming the ground shaker, and note that with each consecutive use, instead of just 3 hits, it becomes 4, 5, and 6. And so really it's like 3 of one move and then 3 of the other move. And so the average damage is still quite decent, although like I said, you need almost 6 cycles of moves to get him to his full capacity. So in our first example of something more serious, is Melina's Manifest was one of the harder ones that's come out in recent memory. One of the reasons why is she can hit, like right off the bat, first turn, you saw how much damage she can do. And luckily AS Lokido survived by not getting one hit KO'd. He got hit, and then he got the AoE, but his hold ground was able to keep him in the fight. And note that I'm going to now do 3 stacks of the Heavenly Impact, and he does refresh his hold ground. You can see that in the status as it flashes through the AF. He does have that symbol again, and now he's starting to spam his Ground Shaker. You're really trying to get 2 stacks of Ground Shaker. That means it's consumed 2 Fearless Fortitudes on the enemy, so that your last hit is the most powerful hit and still can do the most damage, because once you've done more than 3 consecutive hits against one enemy, it's consumed all the Fearless Fortitudes, in which case the damage drops off precipitously. And so you really it's almost like very much a one-trick pony, although you can argue that someone like AS Miyufa also has something similar in mechanics with her T-God Majesty. She can stack up to 5 stacks, after which her 5th hit, the final hit is the most powerful, but it does take a long ramp-up time. The difference is that with AS Miyufa, crit hits do increase the stacks by 2, whereas for AS Lokido specifically, no matter what you do, it consumes 1 Fearless Fortitude. And so at most, you can get 3 consecutive hits on one enemy to get that max damage plus 6 times hit. However, there is not really a way around it, but you can use this mechanic to your advantage against fights that have more than one enemy. So in our final example here, we're going to fight one of the easier dual Hachios. These are the Land Avatar plus the Crab Bonds. And the only reason it's easier is because they are both weak to Earth, and most people have a pretty good Earth team. Now, in past fights, I would have to do a 2-turn AF establishing zone. However, nowadays, when you can take advantage of multi-hit combos, remember that against weakness, each hit charges the AF bar 3.5%. So if you can average hits of 3 or 4 hits, you're going to charge the bar a lot faster than the bar depletes, as opposed to within a zone where you only get, no matter how many hits you get, it is only 7.5%. Now note that I hit the Crab Bonds, and in the final hit, it actually drained the HP bar quite significantly. AS Lokido did all 6 hits, consumed the last Fearless Fortitude, and did max damage against Crab Bonds. But what I want to show you here is a note that because I didn't hit the Land Avatar, we still have 3 Fearless Fortitude stacks, and keep in mind that one of the conditions for AS Lokido is that as long as you do the Ground Shaker continuously, you will still get the benefit of max hits, max stacks, and max damage, providing they still have at least 1 Fearless Fortitude. And so if you consume all the Fearless Fortitudes on one enemy and you have another enemy to target within the same fight, you can still get the benefits of pretty much high damage levels, as long as you don't alternate between the two. So when the enemy is out of Fearless Fortitudes, unfortunately you'll have to do the stack move again, but that just means you need a long ramp-up time. Now the good thing is, keep in mind that once you've done all 6 moves, which is 3 of the setup move and then 3 of the DPS move, you will not only have crit damage 30% up for your entire physical team, you'll have 50% weapon damage up for your physical team, and he will have stacked power and speed 60 and 60. And so even though his numbers initially look average as best, he can actually do quite a high amount of DPS provided you give him the opportunity to set up. And so, in conclusion, I would say AS Lokido is a nice addition to some mature Earth Blunt teams or Earth Elemental DPS teams. However, the main thing is, I wouldn't consider him a top-line unit by any stretch. The fact that he does need a long ramp-up time, a lot of times the meta is now 1 or 2 turns, and you might not have enough time to get all your setup stacks going. Earth is also extremely powerful, and he'll have a lot of competition. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.